Hello, I'm Rythian, and this is part 2 of my questions and answers video for June 2013. The game in the background is Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, one of my all-time favorite strategy and RPG games, and one that I strongly suggest that you buy and play. Let's jump right into the questions. The Masked Elf asks, what's your favorite quote and the reason you like it? My favorite quote is from an episode of Angel, a TV show that I quite like. In it, Angel, the main character, has an epiphany about his life and why he does the things he does. And the epiphany goes, if nothing we do matters, then everything that matters is what we do. And I love that quote because it says a lot about just life and how you can and should live it. This sort of goes into the whole my philosophy of life thing I answered in one of the previous Q&A videos. And it is that if there is no greater purpose to things, if there is no divine plan, if there is no destiny, no fate, nothing that needs to be done, nor major goal, then it is not that nothing matters. It is not that everything is pointless. It is in fact that everything we do has a point, because all there is what you do. So each individual action you do, and the way you treat people, and the way you do things and live your life, that's what matters. You need to make your life and the people around you as good as absolutely possible, because that's all there is. That's what means something. Everything that matters is what we do, because that's what there is. Shizwaraz asks, was Duncan building the nuke under the castle part of your plot, or did you find out that he had built it and worked your story around it? The second one, actually. I had told Duncan ahead of time that we were going to have an episode together, and it just so happened that he was closing in on being able to make nukes in his little series of basically tech tutorial, which is what he was mostly doing. So he went and built a nuke under my castle. Normally, I'd be a bit annoyed by that because, well, more so than anyone else at the time, I was very much planning out my series. And this was just a really weird thing to do. But I thought about it and I realized that this could turn into something really awesome. So I talked to him about it and I talked to Zoe about it, and, you know, and I made a story around the entire thing. The episode where we were about to meet turned into a completely different feel and everything. We introduced the force field system and that sort of thing, and it became a much bigger deal. So that was sort of something that first came as a surprise, but then I eventually used to make the story better, I think. Let's Just Stop asks, I want to get into Blackrock, but I don't know where it falls in with the other Tech It series. What should I watch before watching Blackrock? Nothing really. It's pretty standalone. If you watch the prequel series, that eventually links to the 1 or 2 episodes I did on Shin and Sip's Tech It series. And somewhere along season 2, you could watch Duncan's episode 64, which is him building the nuke, but it's not really much story. Everything pretty much gets explained in Blackrock itself. It's standalone and that sort of thing. You don't really need to watch any of the other Tech It series, because none of them really do story the same way that we do. Incandesco asks, what inspired you to become interested in writing? Were there any influences from parents or teachers, etc.? No, not really. My mom reads a lot of books, and I sort of picked it up from her, I think. Even though we really don't share much of the same interests and anything, although we do both like good detective stories and thriller stories. They never really influenced me either way. They liked that I read, of course, but no, they didn't really try to push me into being anything. Teachers, I wouldn't say that much, but there were a couple of teachers that thought I wrote really well, and that every time we did some sort of story stuff, they thought I did really well, and they said that, you know, you're really good at this and you should consider doing it. It wasn't necessarily so much an influence, but it was like a reinforcement of that I had something to... that I wasn't just being really bad at it. The Matthew Terry asks, what got you interested in writing? Have you ever considered writing a novel or a novella? I suppose I've mostly answered what I got interested in writing before, but reading got me interested in writing. I loved reading and seeing stories and just, you know, always something I liked. I like the creative world, I like fiction, I like cool stories, so of course I wanted to make my own stuff. And if I've ever considered writing a novel or novella, yes, I have many times, and I have written them but never quite finished them, as is pretty common with most people who want to write. I've written a lot of short stories, mostly in school, but yeah, never quite finished a novel, although I've almost finished a novella, and I've got roughly half of a novel done, I'd say. But yeah, that's far from being finished, and I really don't have the time right now. I'd make the time, I guess, if I really, really wanted to do it. I will probably at one point. Sea Salad Blogs asks, who is your favorite character in the Dark Tower series? Also, have you read any other Stephen King books? In the Dark Tower series, I'd say my favorite character is Eddie Dean. I think he's pretty awesome. The second book in the series, The Drawing of the Three, is my favorite so far. I am currently like halfway through Wizard and Glass, which is the fourth one. And the story of Eddie Dean and everything he did in the second book, it was fantastic to me, and I really like him as a character. I'm really looking forward to finding out more about Roland, though. Roland is really cool as well, and yeah, he's definitely close to being, you know, my favorite character after Eddie. And if I've read any other Stephen King books, I've read a few, yeah, not a lot, honestly. The major one I can remember at the top of my head is The Green Mile, which is a really good book, and I did read it yeah, I think I read it before I saw the movie. I think so, at least. Or might have been the other way around. Either way, it's good. Sheepbeard asks, how did you come up with the ideas for the Blackrock Chronicles storyline? What first inspired you to do a story type LP unlike the others? I don't know how I come up with the ideas. That's just... any writer or creator just has ideas come to them. They get inspired from every possible thing they see and experience in their life, and eventually it all comes down to a story. You just come up with an idea and you write it down. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. If it's good, you stick with it. If it's bad, you ignore it. Or if sometimes you think it's good and it turns out it's bad, and well, people don't like it, but what are you gonna do? Not everything can be amazing. First inspired me to do a story type LP unlike the others was just pretty much me knowing that I couldn't just do a straight Minecraft playthrough, because it was pretty boring. I tried at first with the prequel thing. It was just, you know what, I'm gonna try to do a Minecraft series, because I'd guest starred in Sips and Shins thing, and they said, you know, you should try it, and people have been asking for it for a long time, wanted me to do magic mods and so on. I figure I'll give it a go. I can do like a little bit of E2 stuff. But I just didn't really enjoy doing them. I feel that those 5 episodes are the weakest I've ever done and some of the worst video content I've ever done. But they were pretty popular, all 5 of them, and people kept asking for more and wanted to know more. So when I decided to go on and continue, I knew that I had to do something different. So I figured that immediately I was gonna try to put in a little bit of story, at least motivation and more character description, and like more make it a more point to it, rather than just, hey, let's play Minecraft and do mods. So I talked to Zoe and asked if she wanted to come along, and set out a little bit of a plan, you know, get revenge, build up power. And sort of went from there, and then it's evolved, of course, into what it is today. So his biggest fan asks, did you know that the water in your pool is actually just sewage water? Nancy tells Hannah in their Tech It episode 2. Yes, I knew, but it's fine. As soon as he left with the pool, I just checked it and then cast a simple purification spell and got it all sorted. It's all crystal clean and very cool and lovely. Or, well, I should say it was before the entire castle exploded. But there you go. Random as a person asks, hi Rythian, my little brother was wondering if you like Jaffa cakes. Yeah, they're okay. I don't love them as much as Simon, you know. I think they're okay. They're not my favorite cookies by any means, but I'll happily eat them. They're pretty tasty. Neverending Story 312 asks, Rythian, why do you wear a face mask? Is it because of fangs, scars, or just because you can? That would be too much of a spoiler answer, but Well, there's a reason. There's definitely a reason why Rythian wears a mask. The cutesy animal girl asks, how do you react when you see all the Rythian stuff? Rythian, for all you non-Tumblr people, is basically the idea of writing or drawing Zoe and Rythian in a relationship. And I think it's cool. I mean, I would not write the story into a romance if I wasn't okay with it. So I think it's perfectly fine. I Am Sykes asks, why do you choose not to have an outro music? Or is it just the videos that I watch that don't? No, I don't use outro music at all. I prefer the system it is right now, where you sort of hear the sound of the game fade out slowly across the end slate thing. I feel that in many cases a big, bombastic, bright outro music sort of takes away from the feel of the game. I like to think of my playthroughs as being watched in one go. So that's why oftentimes an episode of Bioshock or Dishonored or XCOM or StarCraft just start right into it, like immediately, and then fades out right into it without any sort of hi, welcome, or goodbye, see ya, that sort of thing, so that people can sort of keep watching them in a row, like watching 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes in one go, and feeling like it's a continuing thing that happens, rather than like watch one thing, watch two things, watch three things. They flow together much better that way. Nicholas Flammel asks, is Duncan your brother IRL? I heard something about it. While it would be very tempting to lie and make up a really good, cool story, I fear that too many people will end up believing it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say no. Duncan and I are not brothers IRL. We are, however, pretty good friends, so, you know, if anyone's ever done the mistake and thinks that the series is real life, they will know it isn't. We are really good friends, and the fact that we are enemies, or at least uncertain neutral companions, or whatever you want to call it, in the series does not mean anything in real life. We're good friends. Raindows asks, Rythian, are you good friends with all the Yogscast? Most of them, yeah. Some people I don't know that well. I've literally just met Kim. She seems like a really good person, but we haven't really talked much at all. There's a few people behind the scenes that I don't really know at all. There's a few people I know just a little bit. I know Terpster a little bit, but not that much. I know Sparkles and Powers a little bit more. Obviously I know the main ones quite well. Simon Lewis, Duncan, Hannah, Zoe, T, Ravs, Silas, Daltos, Danny, Strippin, Shin, Sips. I know all of them pretty well. Panda. But yeah, I'd say I'm pretty good friends with almost all of them. And the rest of them, it's not that I dislike them, it's just that I haven't really gotten to know them that well. The Plague98 asks, hey Rythian, do you have any more good books? I love The Lies of Locke Lamora. Awesome. Make sure you pick up the sequel, Red Skies Over Red Seas. It's really, really good. It's not quite as good as the first one, but really good, and it advances the story in a pretty cool way. The third one is out really soon. It's called The Republic of Thieves. This also looks to be pretty damn amazing. As for other good books, I guess my go-to recommendation would be the books of Robin Hobb, the Assassin's Apprentice trilogy, which is Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest. Other than that, maybe check out Joe Abercrombie's books, the First Law trilogy, followed by the 3 standalones, Best Served Cold, The Heroes, and Red Country. All very, very good and dark. And of course, A Song of Ice and Fire. If you have any sort of interest in Game of Thrones, you should read the books. They are really good. Skylord Mylia asks, have you ever considered voice acting? Your many voices are amazing. Yeah, I have. And I'd like to try it at some point. I do generally like voice acting. It can be a cool thing to do. But it's a lot harder job than most people think. And it's hard to be a good one. Still, I'd give it a shot. Rythian the Dragon Proxy asks, do you have anything against gays? Of course not. I really don't see why anyone would. Core818 asks, have you ever played Shadow of the Colossus or Ico? Did you like them, and would you ever consider doing a playthrough of them? Yes, I played them both. Yes, I really love them. Would I ever consider doing a playthrough of them? Definitely. They are definitely my sort of game. They're pretty cool. We'll see. They're on a list of possibilities, but I wouldn't say they're at the top by any means. Kiasa Photography asks, are you a fan of Dexter, and if so, what's your favorite series or season, depending on if you're British or American? Huge fan of Dexter. Watched every single episode, love him. Have a couple of the DVDs. My favorite season would be season 2, the one with the Bay Harbor Butcher and the one with Sergeant Dokes, because Dokes is awesome. Riley42520001 asks, what's your favorite flavor of toothpaste? I don't really have massive favorite flavor. The one I currently have is fresh mint, and it's nice, I guess. Daily Monstrosity asks, why did you start working with Zoe? Was it a choice that you made, or were you assigned together? It was a choice I made. No one assigns me anything. I decided what I want to do on my own. No one has ever told me what to do or anything. I've always just been offered things. I've never really been assigned to do anything at all. What happened was we were going to do Crown Conquest for the first time. And I needed a partner. First I was going to partner up with Nancy, but now I was partnering up with Panda. So I was considering a couple of friends around to do stuff with, and I ended up asking Zoe. Because I knew at the time we were friends, and I figured we would work pretty well together. We would talk and banter, and it would work. We had a sort of chemistry that would work to actually make things entertaining. So I asked Zoe, and she said okay, and it went from there. From there on, I asked her again if she wanted to join in on the Minecraft series I was going to do, and she said yes for that one too. And it sort of grew from there. Lavender Wolves asks, have you ever looked back at older videos and cringed from embarrassment, or simply thought they could have been better? I wouldn't say cringe from embarrassment, but yeah, I definitely will look back at old ones and think, oh, I wish I didn't do that, or I should have done something else, or this really isn't my best work. But that's just how it is. You always continue to evolve and become better at things. It's not really a bad thing. So if you're getting better, which you should always be getting, that means that your older stuff will always be worse. That's just a fact. And it's something you have to accept. The Eyes of Sin, aka Amanda, asks, this July I'm going to a convention and I've decided to attempt to cosplay as a female version of your character from the Blackrock series, as the first cosplay I've ever done. Do you have any suggestions for cosplayers wanting to cosplay as your character? Also, if Rythian was female, would there be any major differences in clothing style, or would the outfit be essentially the same? Suggestions? No, not really. I mean, you know how he dresses, you know how he looks. You have the details, you have the different skins and the different artwork from the different seasons, so there's your idea, your plans right there. If Rythian was female, would there be any differences? No, I don't think so. It would pretty much be mostly the same. I think, at least. So I just say go for it. Cosplay into a female version of me and look awesome doing it, and yeah. You have my blessing, that looks awesome. Sounds cool. Bonnie Senhausen asks, has anyone ever correctly guessed part of the Blackrock Chronicles story? No, I wouldn't say so. Not early enough that it matters, at least. I'd say that later on, when something is already pretty widely hinted at, or it's pretty open, that yeah, then they've guessed it, but not like long in advance. Most people's theories are pretty different, and still to this day, a lot of people are assuming things that aren't right about things, and it's kind of interesting. But I love it. I love when people have theories and guess things and try to figure out things. It's a really cool thing to read and see. So keep going. Brutal Pokemon asks, can I just say that it's very refreshing that you know when to not talk in your playthroughs. Even it's a big plot twist, you almost always stay quiet, and it's just fantastic, and it just makes the whole thing that much better. And thank you for the hard work you put into your videos. It really shows, and you're just great. Okay, have a good day. You have a good day too. And thank you. I like that people understand that. It's one of the greatest things I can get as a creator, is having people actually tell me that they like what I do, and especially when they make it clear that they've understood why I do things. When people understand that when I'm quiet, it's not because I don't have anything to say, it's because I know that sometimes you shouldn't speak. Silence isn't something you should be afraid of. Sometimes you can let the game speak for itself, and it's worth it. Especially, I refuse to talk over cutscenes and dialogue and that sort of stuff. It's one of the most annoying things when other people do that, so I make sure not to do it. The Blue Wolf 99 asks, who would win in a fight, Johnny Iron or Red 5? They're pretty evenly matched, I'd say. They'd probably fight to a standstill. They're both really good fighters. Johnny is a lefty though, and Red 5 is right-handed. So you never know. The Age of Youth asks, have you seen or heard of the new Thief game coming out next year, and are you excited about it? Yes, and I am extremely excited. I love the first 3 Thief games, they're extremely well made, and this one looks fantastic. I love the playstyle, I love the look of it, I love everything, it just looks really cool and I cannot wait to play it. And I'm going to do a playthrough of it, definitely. Alright, that's enough for this time around. Thank you everyone for sending in your questions, I hope my answers were satisfactory. If not, well, sucks. That's all you're getting. Thanks everyone for watching, and until next time, goodbye.